Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J live from the Den, Legacy Internet Radio. Thank you and everybody for rocking with us tonight. We appreciate it. We're going to get into our rants. We're going to get into our closings. If you have anything that's in your spirit, then absolutely jump in and share it. If not, then just say peace out, homies, to the listeners. Tasha, grab the mic. You are up first, and then we'll move around to Mr. 3375 and Big Rube and yours truly. Tasha, what you got?
I don't have a rant tonight. Yay. I'm good. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for calling in, listening on YouTube and archives and all that good stuff. I am excited, though.
Yes.
I'm going to Vegas on Thursday.
Peace
out.
Show off.
RVA. I will see you on next Tuesday. Going to lay by the pool in that 70-degree weather.
Hope it rains.
The hate is so real.
Strong.
The hate is so strong within you, sir. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Got it. Thank you for being here. And we appreciate you joining the Legacy Internet Radio family. Mr. 3375.
Skip him.
You know what you sipping on. You sipping on your little pimp juice.
Shampipple.
What you got, bruh? What you got?
All of y'all Beyonce fans. I'm not scared of y'all. I want to say what Bernie Mac really said. But let me tell y'all something. I'm sitting there watching the Super Bowl. Beyonce on Super Bowl halftime show over. And all I see is Beyonce slayed. Beyonce took over the show. Beyonce did this. Beyonce did that. It was weak. Beyonce was horrible. The whole halftime show was horrible. Beyonce was not all that. She did a horrible show. She do the same routine. She need a new choreographer. I'm not a big fan. I do think she's a great entertainer. I think she's a great singer. But at the same time, she did horrible at the Super Bowl. And I don't care if y'all can come at me, Beyonce fans, because I'm not scared of y'all. Beyonce is not all that. But y'all can follow me at Twitter at Mr. 3375. You also can follow me on Instagram at Mr. 3375. I'm out.
Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J live from the Den, Legacy. I don't know what just happened here. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J live from the Den, Legacy Internet Radio. It's time for my brother Big Rube. Jump in here, grab the mic, and do what you like to call the smash. Big Rube, it's ready for you to smash it, man. What you got?
Wow, it's been a long time since I smashed it. And, yeah. So, it's that simple. I'm a fan of a trendsetter. I'm a fan of somebody who takes everything they have and uses it for the best of their ability. I am a fan of someone who takes nothing and makes something. I think the phrase, make $1 out of 15 cents, will come to mind. Also, when it's all said and done, when you can live with yourself because of what you did, then that's always a good thing too. I was thinking about what I was going to talk about today, and a lot of people are going to clown me, and that's okay, because that means I don't care about you anyway. And you're clearly not understanding the purpose. But today, as most people know, who follow wrestling and stuff like that, Daniel Bryan, a.k.a. Bryan Danielson, retired today due to issues, medical issues. And, for about a year, it was touch and go with that dude. Is he going to play? Is he going to wrestle again? Is he not? That sort of thing. But what he did in the sport of sports entertainment is he revolutionized it for the average dude. He was like 5'8", 100 and some pounds, in a day where the WWE loves the 6'4", 275, 6'6", 300-pounder, 7 foot, 350-pounder, and somehow the Big Show. And they want the characters to be larger than life, bigger than what they should be. And this dude this 5'8", maybe 205-pound guy who wrestled all over the world in much smaller promotions, came to the WWE. They tried to crush him. He came back, and the fans said, no more. This is what we want. And they basically put WWE in a stranglehold to do what they wanted. And they did it. And now Daniel Bryan is probably one of the most beloved wrestlers of all time. And he's retiring today. Basically. Now, is that sad or whatever? I'm not going to sit here and be like, I love wrestling and all that stuff. I say that to say this. You could be a trendsetter today. All you have to do is put your mind to it and make it happen. Just like him and all the belief that in WWE, they don't like small guys. They don't do anything with small guys. You're not going to be successful there. You know what? He was successful there. And whether it's getting a job at Burger King and moving from the fries to the front, or moving from a regular job to management, or starting your own business, you have the opportunity to be a trendsetter today. And yes, wrestling is sports entertainment. Yes, everybody knows who's going to win. But you know what? It doesn't make the lesson any more or less important. So I say to you, if there's something out here you want to do, go do it. Because the worst thing you can do is always want, and never do, and you regret that for the rest of your life. This dude could have stayed in the Indies for years and made a lot of money and traveled around the world, but he wanted to be on the big stage, and someone told him no. But he said yes. And as everyone knows, his chant is yes, yes, yes. And to the point where they're getting it done. They're doing it in sports arenas. They're doing it in sports teams. I mean, they did it at a Michigan State basketball game, and for some weird effect, kind of helped them win the game. The only person who counts you short is you. And if you're going to allow yourself to be counted short, then that's a you problem, and you need to handle that. But all I'm saying is, you never know what you can do until you try. Bryan Danielson tried, and he was successful. Marcus J. and Ruben Brown tried, and so far, due to everything else, I would call this successful. But until you decide what you want to do and do it for yourself, you will have some small successes. But until you are truly happy doing what you want to do, you will unfortunately never be successful. Because it's not about the money. It's not about anything. It's all about how you feel and how you feel like you've made your mark. And if you don't feel that way, it's never too late. It's Big Rube. It's a smash. And I'm out.
Shout out to your man, Bryan Danielson. Definitely big fan of that guy. So I'm going to take his music all the way up to my rant and closing, because Big Rube and I, one of the things that bonded us as brothers, 15 years ago, long before either of us thought about doing radio, was professional wrestling. And like he said, we all know what kayfabe is. We know it's not, real stuff. We know it's all scripted. We get all of that. But there's still some of us grown-ass men who love it. We happen to be two of them. And Daniel Bryan was he was one of my favorite guys. My Mama J would trip off of me because, if you're a wrestling fan, when you see him, he comes out and he does his yes, yes, yes thing, and he jumps up and down. And he gets probably, there might be maybe 4 or 5 guys that get a bigger pop than he does. Getting a pop means the fans like you. And I'm thinking maybe Hulk Hogan in the last few years, The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Daniel Bryan's pop, the reaction he gets from the fans is on par with those guys. And at 34 years old, he had to give up something that he spent pretty much his entire life as a little guy and a big guy, job doing his thing. He had to give it up. So I feel bad for the guy. I can relate. And I'm just sad that we're not going to get to see him no more. So shout out to Daniel Bryan. That's my own little mini rant on that. But I'll have more of my own rant here in just a moment. I hope Big Rude doesn't mind me stealing just a little bit of his thunder on that. I'd rarely, if ever, do that, but that was something I wanted to make sure that I made plain. Ain't no half step on Marcus J live from the Den Legacy Internet Radio, sponsored by Paradigm Shift, Free Spirit Enterprises, Live Action Captions, and Joseph Lewis Insurance. We appreciate our sponsors. We appreciate the folks listening to us on TuneIn, on Streamer, those folks listening to the replays on YouTube, as well as iTunes. Shout out to Travel 2 Girl. Special shout out to our new listener, her, Travel 2 Girl, as well as our new listener, Michelle, who moved from Jersey down to Virginia. Big special shout out to our brother Wizzo, who called us up earlier. He, of course, joined us in studio last week with our sister Jody Smith. And I suspect that we'll be seeing and hearing from him again very, very soon. Shout out to Big Sis S.Y. Butler. She called in. Unfortunately, she wasn't able to be in studio with us tonight, but she definitely made her presence known. Much love goes to our sister Tony, who was here earlier on the show. Of course, shout out to our new sister Tasha, who's in studio with us tonight. Of course, Mr. 3375, the utility player, as well as my brother, partner, and friend, Big Rube. At this time of the show, every single week, I always profile a missing and/or exploited child. Tonight is no different. We're looking for Samara Banks. She's missing from right here in the Cap City, Henrico, Virginia, since January 12, 2016. She's a 16-year-old black female. She's small for her age. She's only 4'9", but she weighs 160 pounds, so she shouldn't be too difficult to spot. So keep you guys' eyes open. She's got black hair, brown eyes. She's got a scar on her left hand, and she may be in need of medical attention. In the photograph that I have here, she wears eyeglasses. So keep your eyes open. Contact the Henrico County Police Department at 804-501-5000. Call 1-800-THE-LOST, 1-800-843-5678. Or if you are more comfortable emailing, then hit them up on their website, missingkids.com. Ain't No Half Steppin' with Marcus J will air in its entirety immediately following this airing right now. So keep your ears on. At this time, it's time for me to close it out with my rant. And it's time for me to close it out with my closing. So hopefully you guys will give me just a minute of your time. Obviously, it's February, and February is Black History Month. Last week, we talked a little bit about the origin of Black History Month and why it's outrageous to say things like, oh, they gave us the shortest month. Oftentimes when we do talk about Black History Month, though, we're talking about the many black men who have made an indelible impact on our world. Far too often, though, the story of the impact made by black women is left untold. So I just want to share a few thoughts about the amazing impact that our sisters have made on history, black history, and, of course, American history. Now, as a youth, we were taught about the indomitable spirit of Harriet Tubman, who led the Underground Railroad. She, of course, famously said that she freed 1,000 slaves, but she would have freed more if they only knew that they were actually slaves. And I always love that quote because it speaks to the problem of fear and brainwashing that obviously is prevalent then and certainly still prevalent now to this day. I've always been drawn to leaders who persevere in the face of dire straits, just when no one thinks you can do it. And the sisters I want to highlight tonight completely fit that bill. Sisters like Maggie Walker from right here in Richmond, Virginia. As we discussed earlier, she was the first female black president, first woman to charter her own bank in the United States as well. She was the first woman of any color to do that. And as a leader, she achieved success with the vision to make tangible improvements in the way of life for blacks as well as women. Disabled by paralysis and limited to a wheelchair later in life, Maggie Walker also became an example for people with disabilities. Now, as great as Harriet Tubman and Maggie Walker were, honestly, for me, My favorite Black History Month females are actually the widows of the three most celebrated black men in Black history. And we're talking about Myrlie Evers, Betty Shabazz, and Coretta Scott King. Their impact to the legacy of our culture is absolutely immeasurable to me. Consider this. You got three black women in the climate of the 1960s. See their husbands all murdered by gun. They all had small children, and they were all stay-at-home moms. Their husbands gave their lives to the cause and by all accounts spent little time at home because of it. And when they were murdered, their widows were tasked with carrying on their dreams, raising their children, and then living their own lives. They were thrust upon single parenthood in the most abrupt and violent of ways, and not only did they overcome, they each became revered civil rights leaders in their own right. Mrs. Evers pursued her husband's killer for over 30 years, culminating in his murder conviction, all while continuing her own education and rising to the ranks of chairperson of the NAACP. And like Mrs. Evers, Betty Shabazz was forced to the head of her household because of the murder of her husband, raising 6 girls while going to school and earning a doctorate, becoming an associate professor of health sciences with a concentration in nursing, ironically at New York's Medgar Evers College. And of course, Coretta Scott King, who was so driven that she worked for nearly 20 years to see to it that her late husband's work culminated in a national holiday. An activist in her own right, her work towards equal rights for the LGBT community and her opposition to apartheid highlight her influence in history. Bessie Coleman, Phyllis Wheatley, Sojourner Truth, Mary McLeod Bethune, Harriet Tubman, Maggie Walker, Myrlie Evers, Betty Shabazz, Coretta Scott King. Mothers, activists, freedom fighters, educators, business owners, every bit as important as their male counterparts. And tonight, I salute them and the many more sisters who have done great work, contributing to the legacy of the history of blacks. That is the Myrrh, Marcus's unrelated rant that ain't got nothing to do with what we've been in here talking about tonight. It's the end of the show, y'all. I want to remind everybody that independence is, in fact, the key to building your legacy. I also want to say peace to all the stars and all of the squares. In the abundance of water, the fool is thirsty. Those are the words of Bob Marley, whose born day was this past Saturday. We are celebrating him as well. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. We will be back right here next week. Peace out, y'all.